Hello, welcome back to the Google Workspace Update podcast from Strawberry 7. My name is Adam.
And my name is also Adam.
We're here to bring you the latest updates about everything that's happening around Google Workspace. This podcast is available as an audio podcast from your regular podcast provider and also as a video podcast on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. Let's get to it.
On with the show. Right, before we go any further, I would just like to mention today, day of filming on the 30th of September, is International Podcast Day. So happy International Podcast Day, everybody.
I didn't know that.
Anybody that has been listening, thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. I've actually noticed, Adam, that we have had a few less. I think we're up to about 10 or 15 downloads now or something, which is great considering that we don't. Or so far, we haven't advertised this podcast at all. We've been a bit busy within Strawberry 7, and we haven't had time to actually put this podcast out to anybody. So that's brilliant, Adam. I didn't actually know that until you said that. You've deliberately kept that a surprise. It's very sneaky of you. I knew you did that as a surprise. Oh wow! Happy International Podcast Day then today. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that bit of info, Adam. I'll hand back over to you to do the updates.
Right, so yeah, updates with Google Workspace this week. It's just one small update to do with Google Calendar. Small for some people, but potentially really helpful for other people. So, right, Google Calendar. So, in addition to the improved announcements for Braille comments and highlights available in Google Docs and on the web, and the recent launch of more control over accessibility preferences, Google have introduced announced shortcuts for calendar event details. So now users of screen readers can now type a keyboard shortcut that verbalizes the content of an event, such as the title, the date, time, guest list, and more. So these shortcuts greatly improve glanceability because they enable calendar details to be heard on demand instead of the time-consuming navigation through information.
Oh, right. Okay. So this is obviously an accessibility feature for, in this case, I assume users who are blind because it's talking about verbalizing. Is that correct?
Yes, I would definitely say anyone with a visual impairment or just needs a bit of
I
help
see.
knowing what's on the screen in front of them.
I see. This is quite interesting to me because it's a shortcut that is something built within Google that allows the verbalization of the text. This is probably a bit of my ignorance here because I would assume that somebody who has a visual impairment on a device probably has some kind of reader built in, the equivalent of, I know Siri is sort of the voiceover reader on Macs, and there's voiceover as an actual application on Macs that's built in, and there's an equivalent sort of system on PC as well. So this is something that's within Google itself. They've kind of added this as a calendar feature. Am I kind of understanding that correctly?
Yes, so my understanding is that the whole point of this is specifically for Google Calendar. You can go into an event, you can type a shortcut on your keyboard, and it will literally read out whatever details are to do with that Google event, such as the time or the date or the guest list.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. And I suppose that the advantage of that is because Google is sort of controlling that within the calendar rather than you having to navigate around and then get, say, Siri to read out that bit for you. It kind of knows where you are and it's reading the relevant information. I think that's what it's saying about it's reducing that time-consuming navigation through the information. I guess that's what it's talking about.
Yes. So although I wear glasses myself, but I'm not really that visually impaired. However, I expect some people that do have some visual impairments, maybe they have their screen really zoomed in quite far. So then it's actually literally time consuming or a bit more of a challenge to navigate what we may see just all in a page, all in one go. Those with visual impairments, they may have everything really zoomed in, so that it's a bit more challenging for them to navigate just even just one page. So if they use these keyboard shortcuts, they don't need to worry about scrolling. Oh, well, which bit do we need to go to find the guest list, or what time is it happening? They can just go straight into the event, click a keyboard shortcut, and hopefully everything will just be read out to them.
I see, I see. Right, I understand. I understand. Yeah, that's a really good explanation there, Adam. I hadn't thought about it being so zoomed in on the screen. I think you've got some of the shortcuts here for our listeners, haven't you? We'll, as always, put these in the description of the podcast and in the description of the video. But seeing as this update is actually targeted at those with visual impairment, that won't be much use for people with a visual impairment. So let's read out some of the shortcuts here.
Okay, so this is available on Windows, Chrome OS, and Mac OS. So all some of the major operating systems. So to begin with, if you just want to view what shortcuts are available, you can press Control and slash or Command and slash, and then a window will appear on your window that will just list off which shortcuts are available to you. So if you want to have the announce shortcuts, so it literally reads everything to you. So for Windows, it's Alt plus something else, such as a number. Chrome OS, it's Alt and Shift plus something. And on Mac, it's Option plus.
I see. I see. So when you say Alt plus or Option plus, that will be the corresponding number that's on that list that's kind of brought up earlier. Is that sort of how that works?
Yes. So for example, if I'm just having a look on mine right now.
So yeah, it's quite similar to how VoiceOver works in this regard, where there's a bit of a you can kind of, when you engage VoiceOver, as soon as you engage it, it sort of reads out some of the options that you can have, and it says push this for this, push this number to do this, etc. So to sort of read that out.
Yeah, I'm just noticing actually it's a little bit interesting. So I tried this out on my work laptop, which is a MacBook Air earlier, and when I did Command slash, the window that popped up is looking different to the one that I can see right now on my iMac. So,
Ah, okay.
so it does seem to be maybe slightly different. I'm sure the shortcuts would be the same, but the interface that you see may actually vary slightly, going from device to device, even within the same what's the word? Not supplier, brand.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you mean. Within the same OS and things like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think it was option plus one, say to see the time and date, option plus two to see the guest list, option plus three, and so on.
I
I
see.
believe it was the numbers, but
I
yeah. But
see.
if you do your command slash or your control slash for Windows or Chrome OS, then it should pop up and literally list off the shortcuts available. Ironically, you
Great.
may need something else to actually read those shortcuts to you if you do have
Yes.
your own visual impairment, but that is where they are all available.
Yeah, I suppose the good thing is once you know the shortcuts once, then you're going to know them, I guess. So that's one good thing there. But yeah, that is a good point. You might need something else to actually be able to read off of that list. Who's that available for, Adam? And when's that actually due to sort of be available?
So rollout starts on the 27th of September. So that was a few days ago from date of filming.
Mm-hmm.
Expected to take 1 to 3 days, so it should be available to everybody
Oh,
by now, which is
yep.
great. Available to all Google Workspace customers, as well as legacy G Suite Basic and Business customers, and those with a personal account. So literally
Oh, everyone then.
everybody. It's great. A quality of life improvement like this typically would go out to absolutely everybody, regardless of which version that they're using.
Yeah, Google, like Apple, are good at releasing those accessibility features and making them available everywhere. And I know Apple have always been quite at the forefront of doing those accessibility features with the different things they've released. And it's nice to see Google doing that as well. So great. I think you were saying we've just got this one update this week. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
right,
just a
Adam?
very brief one. This week, it's just this one update that we have from Google Workspace. So over the last few weeks, we've sometimes had 2 or 3 updates, but this week it's just this one.
Great. Well, we were able to go into it a little bit more detail, so that's good. Brilliant. That's it, everybody. I just want to echo what we said earlier about thank you so much for everybody who's found this podcast and listening and downloading it. I hope you're finding it really useful. And if you've got any feedback for us, we're always happy to hear so. You can give us feedback in the reviews on the podcast, or you can always email us on info@strawberry7.com, and that's the number 7. That's everything that you need to know about latest updates happening around Google Workspace. Remember that there is a video version of this podcast on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7, and an audio version available from your podcast supplier. Thank you very much for joining us this week.
And we'll be back again next week with more updates.
Goodbye.
Bye.